Have the bio for Taylor Dill here, so I'll read it because I don't think you guys can from there. She's been to youth camp since 2008. The youth camp is for 12 to 25-year-olds this year. She's actually 23, so she fit inside that criteria. She's a graduate student at Ohio State University in agronomy. Did I say that right, Taylor? Agronomy. I even spelled it out phonetically. Oops. So that's the science of farming? Yeah. Cool. So she's doing research on corn and other agronomizer thing. So we're finding out that Taylor's smarter than me. That's cool. I've known Taylor for about 13 years, and when we first met, she taught me how to ride on a four-wheeler and showed me all the cornfields and soybeans. And when we got back to the house, to Tom and Sue's house, we smelled like spoiled soybeans. That's a smell that can't get out of your nose right away, so that's cool. But it's so fun to hang out with Taylor and just to be with Taylor, and she's my little buddy, so she's everybody's little buddy. All right, cool. So she wants to have a walk-up song, because all good baseball players have walk-up songs. And so please enjoy Strong Love. And Casey, take it away.
Death, no life, no angels, no powers, present things or things in the future. Height, no depth, no any created thing could separate me from your love. Death, no life, no angels, no powers, present things or things in the future. Height, no depth, no any created thing could separate me from your love. Death, no life, no angels, no powers, present things or things in the future. Height, no depth, no any created thing could separate me from your strong love. It's written on my heart, and there is not a flood that could quench this love. Oh, I know it's your love. It's stronger than the grave, and death could never take me from this love. Cause your love is so high, your love is so wide, your love is so deep, your love is so low, your love is so high, your love is so wide, your love is so deep, your love is so, it's your love, it's so high, your love is so wide, it's your love, it's so deep, your love is so low, it's your love, it's so high, your love is so wide, it's your love, it's so deep, your love is so low. Death, no life, no angels, no powers, present things or things in the future. Height, no depth, no any created thing could separate me from your love. Death, no life, no angels, no powers, present things or things in the future. Height, no depth, no any created thing could separate. Sing strong love, your strong love, your strong love, and it's your strong love, your strong love, it's your strong love, your strong love, and it's your strong love, your strong love, yeah, it's your strong love, your strong love, and it's your strong love, your strong love, and it's your strong love, your strong love, and it's your strong love, your strong, 'cause your love, it's written on my heart, and there is not a flood that can quench this love. I know it's your love, it's stronger than the grave, and death could never take me from this strong love. It's your eyes of love, flames of fire. I know it's your head as white as water, and I know it's your voice that sounds like waters. Jesus, you're beautiful. Lord, I know it's your eyes are like flames of fire. I know it's your head as white as water, and I know it's your voice that sounds like waters. Jesus, you're beautiful. 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 We sing Jesus, you're beautiful. Jesus, you're beautiful.
I'm tired now. That song gets me really excited, and I just think that Jesus deserves us to be super stoked about him. And I don't know about you guys, I'm always super stoked about almost anything. So, like, when it's about Jesus, it's even more so. So that's why I'm out of breath. I would like to thank Tanya for letting me come up here and talk. It's a really big honor, and I think it's a really big deal when somebody trusts you enough to get up here and speak. So, thank you, Tanya. Also, thanks for my family for coming to support me. Hi, Carly. So, Tanya asked me to talk about what I talked about at youth camp last week. And so, normally, I've been teaching at teen camp since 2012. So usually every year I'm really excited about something to talk about, and I don't usually have any trouble figuring out what it is. This year, however, was very different. It was like 2 weeks before camp. I had no idea what I was supposed to talk about. So I started asking every single person I've ever met what I should do. And so I'm at my house with my roommate, Katie, and I go, Katie, what do you think I should talk about? And she just looks at me with this look. She goes, I think you should talk about forgiveness. And I go, ha, no, next subject. Did not want to talk about literally anything, but that was what I wanted to talk about. Tim Beelan had to talk about sex at teen camp, and I was like, Tim, you want to trade? And so through that process, I was asking still everyone, and nothing was clicking, so I eventually text Tanya, and I go, Tanya, you want me to go with my gut? I had nothing. I did not have anything in my gut. I was just hoping she wouldn't say what I didn't want her to say. And she goes, you know what? The person that I would normally ask to speak about forgiveness isn't coming. Can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I can. I don't want to. I didn't tell her that I didn't want to. Jesus just knew it. And it was a really cool thing that he did for me, though, because he knew that I wasn't dealing with stuff that I needed to deal with, and he was like, I can trick her into doing this because I know that she's not going to get up there and lie to you guys, and she'll be very real, and so if I tell her to do this now, she'll actually start to work on things. So this teaching is just as much for me as it is for all of you, if not more so. Sorry. Water. Okay, so these are my thoughts on forgiveness. So what has to happen to us for us to need to forgive? Someone has to hurt us, right? Someone has to sin against us. and therefore we need to let it go or set them free, or that's what forgiveness means, is setting a captive free. That's what we are supposed to do. But there's a lot of things that happen to us physically when we are hurt, and that is stress. So almost anything can be a stress to our body, and that includes emotional pain and physical pain. And so when I was at Wilmington in my undergrad, I took a class called The Psychology of Stress, and it was probably the most important class I've ever taken. It was opened my eyes to a lot of different stuff. So do you guys know what happens to your body physically when you're stressed? So your body doesn't really know the difference between emotional stress and physical stress. It just always thinks it's getting attacked by a lion. So what happens is, regardless of if I'm physically getting attacked by a lion, or I'm stressed about getting an A on a test, or somebody hurt my feelings, my body immediately goes into, like, I'm getting attacked by a lion mode, right? So what happens is, well, the first thing that happens is your blood in your skin, like, goes down a little bit, so that if you get cut by this lion, you don't bleed to death. And it'll also heighten your blood pressure, so when you're running, you don't pass out, right? Because it doesn't matter what happens in the next 20 years, it matters what happens in the next 30 minutes, because your body's worried about purely your survival. So also, it will forget about the things that need to happen to make you healthy for the next 20 years, and just simply only focus on the next 30 minutes. So it'll stop digestion, because that's not important when you're running away from a lion. Digestion's not important. Reproducing is not important, so you're not going to have a baby in the next 20 minutes. Unimportant. Not focusing on that. Oh, there was a third one. Oh, killing off cancer cells. Also not important for the next 30 minutes, so we're going to forget about that. So obviously, most of us are not getting attacked by lions anytime soon. We have more emotional stress, but we also have really, really high stress levels, and they're chronic. Most people, not everybody, most people do. And so when you have that high stress always, all of that stuff still happens to your body, but it's every day, and it's all the time. So a lot of that long-term stuff that I was just telling you about can end up being a problem if you're not regulating your stress well or correctly. And there's a few different ways to do it, but the best way is Jesus. So that's one of the effects of stress. The other one is, it really depends on what emotions are behind your stress, and it can affect different parts of your body. So if you're stressed because you're angry, I'll take this one. I'm more angry than I am anything else if I'm not happy. So it can affect your liver pretty poorly if you're not processing anger well. If you're not processing anxiety well, it can hurt your digestive system as well. If you're not processing heartbreak, it can hurt your physical chest. And I could go on, but I don't have my notes from class with me, so I will not go on. So it's really important for you to understand how to process your emotions. And last thing about psychology, we also have a fight or flight response when we're getting attacked by that lion, or when we're getting attacked by anything else. So your flight response is running away. If I'm getting physically attacked, I don't do that because I'm not a fast runner. I have to fight because I cannot run. I can't outrun the lion. I will have to fight it. So those are your two options are running away or fighting it. And for me, emotionally, I tend to run away. I'm still not good at it emotionally as I am physically. It's really not a great thing that for me to do. But what I do is I just pretend like it never even happened. So this year I lost a relationship with somebody that was really important to me. And I'm in graduate school, like Michael said, and it's really hard for me to process emotions and do things intellectually because relationships are the most important thing to me. So when that's an area of stress for me, that's what I focus on. So I didn't have the capacity to do both, so I was like, well, I can't fail out of school. One time, actually, in undergrad, I was going through something really rough with one of my friends, and I went from an A to a C in 1 week. And I was like, cannot do this in grad school, we'll get kicked out. So I pushed all my emotions down and focused on school. And also, that doesn't mean that I wasn't thinking about it all the time. You think about it every day because your body isn't like taking care of itself, it's reminding you of the pain because it wants it to be gone, and when you're ignoring it, it just builds up, right? And also, I wasn't sad. What happens to me is I get mad. I don't process sadness well. I just get angry about it. And so when I get angry, I get a little bit spicy, I guess, feisty about it. And so rather than just being like, ow, this hurts, I go, that didn't hurt me at all. That never even happened. And that does not work well, let me tell you about it. You cannot do that. That would be like if I was in a physical fight with Katie and she stabs me in the arm, and I just look at it and say, that didn't hurt. It's blood everywhere. Like, that didn't hurt me, Katie. I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound. It doesn't matter. And then any sane person would be like, Taylor, you should go to the doctor, or at least take the knife out of your arm, right, and bandage it up. But no, what I do, I won't put that on you guys. I hope you don't do this. You take the knife out and you just stab your own self with it because you think about it all the time, right? So it's really important to process the pain. And for me, it's hard to even admit that it hurts because I feel like I've lost if I said it hurts. But I want to tell you that it's okay that you're in pain. It is okay. You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say, Jesus, ow, this hurts me. Help me with it. You can ask for help. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. I never thought I would say that before in my life. It's okay. It's okay that you're hurt. There's nothing wrong with it. And pushing it down just makes it harder to deal with later. And I think Jesus does talk about this, but it's a little bit hidden. I'll show you where it is. Casey, can we go to Matthew 9? I'm going to read it in my Amplified because I like it better than your Amplified, but you should put it up anyway. So it's Matthew 9:12. So the Pharisees are asking Jesus why he hangs out with all of the sinners, and they want to know, because why aren't you hanging out with us? Because we're better. They're not better. So they were asking him that, and then Jesus said, here. But when Jesus heard it, he replied, those who are strong and well, healthy, have no need for a physician, but those who are weak and sick do. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, that is readiness to help those in trouble, and not sacrifice and sacrificial victims. For I came not to call and invite to repentance the righteous, those who are upright and in right standing with God, but sinners, the erring ones, and all those not free from sin. So Jesus didn't mean that none of the Pharisees ever sinned, because clearly they did. They were very proudful. Oh my gosh, prideful. They were very prideful. So they were in fact sinning. But Jesus meant that these sinners know that they need him. They weren't rejecting him. They were inviting them into their lives, and that is exactly what the Pharisees did not do. You need to admit that you need him to receive healing. If you're pushing him away, you're not asking for his healing. Healing's a gift. He wants you to have it, but you have to be accepting of it, and to be accepting of it, you have to admit that you need him. So I am working on that as well. Don't worry, guys. We will get through it together. So that is my response. Oh, my grandpa's necklace. Sorry. The other response to stress is your I just did fight response. And that is when you're aggressive about it, when you get hurt. And you're really just covering up the same pain as if you were running away from it. So I'm not judging you if you are a fighter. It's just different than what I do. Not that I've never fought before. I hit a girl in high school, okay? That's why my family's laughing so hard. It was for my mom. Tell this. Okay, so someone was being mean to my mom, and I didn't like it, so I punched her in the face, and I got in trouble. Mom's really proud of me for it. So kids, I'm just kidding. Don't. Oh gosh. So it's when you're aggressive is when you're a fighter. So these can be the people that are like, if you don't stop talking to me this way, I'm just going to start screaming at you. Or on the Facebook, they're just the ones complaining they're just the ones complaining about you all the time. Like, what do they call it, subtweeting? Am I talking to the wrong generation here? I'm sorry. This is when you talk bad about somebody without using their name, but they know it's about them, right? Ooh, yeah. It's not very nice. You shouldn't do that. But the that response is like when you get the knife out of your arm, but now you turn on the other person, right? You want to hurt them with the same thing that they hurt you with, which isn't healing for you at all, and you're hurting other people. I would not advise that, but I think the best response I've ever seen, at least Bible-wise, is David's response to Saul's death. So could we go to 2 Samuel 1:22? Then that can be in the regular one. King James. So David is being hunted by Saul most of his life because Saul doesn't like him, because he's a better warrior. He knows he's going to be king soon, or when he dies, so he just wants to kill David. And there were many chances that David had to kill Saul and didn't do it. But this is what he says about Saul after he dies in battle, and his best friend Jonathan. All right. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Yea, daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. Maybe one more? Yeah. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle, O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. Okay. So does any of that sound like he was talking bad about Saul, even after he was trying to kill him? No, that is the best thing he could have said about Saul, and Saul did not earn that at all. Like, David could have just been like, man, this guy tried to kill me my whole life. He was a horrible king. He was a terrible person. And that's not what he said, nor did he kill him when he had so many opportunities to. And I attribute that to the fact that David was so close to God. If you read Psalms at all, David was very vulnerable. He said, ow, this hurts me, help me. Or he was mad and said, ow, this hurts, kill them all. I don't even care, just do it. But that was okay, because David didn't go kill everybody. But he could complain to God, and it helped him to forgive Saul over and over and over again, to the point where he could say that. And now, I know not most people's story is not that someone was trying to kill them their whole life. Sometimes it is, and I'm really sorry if it's your story, but that's not most people's. And I think that if that's what he can say about somebody who is trying to literally murder him, we could say good things about people that have hurt us, right? So those are the two stress reactions. But neither of those are like good options, I think. Both of them are very, let's avoid our feelings, let's avoid all of this, and I'll do it in a particular way. Why are we like that? Why is there not a better option? And I would like to take you to Genesis 4 and to the story of Cain and Abel. I don't need to flip there, you have it. So, Cain and Abel are the first sons of Adam and Eve. And Abel is a shepherd, and Cain is a farmer. And they both go to God with sacrifices, right? And God rejects Cain's and accepts Abel's. I'm not going to get into why that is, because it's not important to my point right now. But Cain is angry. He is so mad that he did not get accepted by God that he goes and kills Abel for it. Ready? Oh, sorry. 4, 9, and 10. I think. No, you're right. I was looking at the wrong book. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So, when Abel's blood was spilt, his blood told God about it. Now, what did Abel's blood say to God? Abel's blood cried for revenge and vengeance. It said, hurt him, he hurt me, look what he did to me, get him back for this. Now, whose blood do we not align ourselves with anymore? That. Good job. Yes, we don't align ourselves with Abel anymore because somebody else's blood is louder and stronger, and it's Jesus' blood. Woo-hoo, Jesus, yeah. Jesus' blood says, forgive them, love them, mercy, forgiveness, forgiveness. He says that over you. When he was being beaten before the cross, every drop of his blood that fell on the ground screamed forgiveness. Forgive them. That's what he said about you individually. He wanted God to forgive you, and that's what his blood says. And we align ourselves with that now. That is what we do. His blood forgives us. He forgives us. And the more that you understand his forgiveness for you, I'm going to tell you, it's so much easier to forgive other people when you are understanding of what he's done for you. When I'm getting really stubborn with, well, if I'm mad is usually what it is. If I'm getting that stubborn, usually the Spirit's like, well, you know, Taylor, Jesus died for them just like he died for you. And then I go, oh, you are so right. And it really changes my mindset about that. And the more that we learn his forgiveness and his love for us especially, it's easy. It comes naturally. It's a package deal. It'll come more naturally to forgive other people that have hurt us because that's what love does. So in Corinthians, I'm not going to have you turn there because I don't know what the verses are, but it lists about what Jesus' love for us is and what it does for us. And one, it says that you think no evil. So that means that Jesus does not have one bad thought about you. He constantly thinks about how amazing you are. No matter what you've done, he is always like, man, they're just so great. I love them so much. Even after you've done the dumbest thing you've ever done in your life, that is what he's thinking about you. And once we've learned that and we can take in his love, we can start mimicking him and thinking that of other people. But it starts with us. And then it also says he doesn't tally up your wrongs. So he's not up there saying, oh, you've done this and you've done that and you've done that. Let's remember, no. God promises to forget everything because he wants to. So we need to also forget that. So he does not keep your tallied wrongs. We should not be keeping other people's tallied wrongs because we need to be in such good relationship with him that it's our nature now. It's supposed to become our nature, and the more that you are with him, the more it becomes your nature. So, I don't know, I guess my last words to you are, Jesus makes it easier. Maybe we should just go to him more in our pain and all of it because our life's just so much easier and happier when we let him help us. Okay, I'm going to pray now. I thank you, God, for my family, which is all these people in this room and that are listening, that you can dive into their hearts and just help pull the pieces back together and uproot any bitterness or unforgiveness that might be in there and fill that spot, fill that hole where all of that was held, and fill it with your love so that they can understand your love for them, and so it can be poured out to other people. But again, it starts with us knowing you. And I thank you for open-heartedness, and thank you so much for your goodness and for your sacrifice, because none of us could be here without your sacrifice. In Jesus' name, amen.